Okay, probably nobody's on yet, but I'm gonna go ahead and just finish getting set up here. All right, let's see. Cool. Okay, I'm gonna get started pretty soon. Once people start tuning in, hopefully. If we haven't met before, my name is Kent, and I run a brand of D&D tabletop RPG miniatures called Void Realm Minis. And today I'm gonna sculpt live in virtual reality and make a monster from the D&D monster manual. If anybody is on and as I work, if there are any issues with the audio, let me know. What I'm going to do today is I have this mixed reality setup so that you can see my controllers in virtual reality overlaid with my webcam, so that when I sculpt, you get a better sense of how I'm going to be creating the model. So this is really different from working on a monitor, because I have the sculpt right in front of me. I can make it larger, smaller, flip it around, and do all sorts of cool stuff and techniques to make this happen. And this sculpt is part of a series of free releases that I do, so I'm going to create this monster, and in a few weeks when I get him printed and after he's released to my patrons, then I'll release him as a free digital download for people to print at home themselves and put on their tabletop. And yeah, as the title says, we're going to do a Manticore today. So Manticore, the D&D, I pulled up a couple images here. We're going to build this guy from scratch. This is kind of the Dungeons & Dragons Manticore. It's a little bit different than the kind of mythological Manticore straight out of history, which does not have wings, but I believe we're going to go for a human face, kind of a lion feline body, and a scorpion tail. So I pulled up these images here that are just off to my right that I'll have in front of me to use. Here's a couple others. This guy. People usually put cool multiple rows of teeth on these things. But I'm going to try to design and sculpt here on the fly and come up with a quick, efficient design, hopefully. Yeah, so we'll get started pretty soon here. If you have any questions while I'm going along, please leave a comment. I have a window open in VR, so I should be able to keep track of the comments. Actually, if anybody just wants to just say hi really quick and let me know that the audio is okay, that would be great, so that I know the system is working. But, yeah, here we go. So I'm going to grab a cube brush and a mirror plane. I'm going to make sure that all these... Yeah. You guys can see that okay? All right. So usually if I'm starting with the face, I'll kind of rough in some planes and then start pulling stuff around. Hey, Ilka, I think, asking what app I'm using. This is Adobe Medium on an Oculus Rift headset. Adobe Medium is actually free software. You just have to purchase the headset and have the whole setup and everything. And used to be, this software was originally made by Oculus, and Adobe purchased it this year sometime. Hopefully they'll do some cool upgrades and things with it. See, you guys can see that okay? All right. Yeah, and it's really awesome because I get to squirt out clay as opposed to ZBrush where you're kind of pushing and pulling clay around. I can also carve away, you see that, into the figure. It's pretty cool too. So I won't spend too much time. Yeah, definitely try out Oculus Medium. It's pretty awesome. And there's a really good Facebook group on here that will help out with advice and stuff. And people post work and people make all sorts of really, really crazy stuff. Bring this guy back. There we go. Okay, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this face. I'm going to go ahead and make a new layer, and this will let me pull this out of the way. And let's start with a body a little bit. So one thing I think I want to try to do with the Manticore here is make him a little bit lankier, kind of like this classic design here from, this is probably from the 19th century, as opposed to the more muscular, kind of aggressive dragon feeling Manticores that are out there. And to do that, we'll probably want to really punch this idea of the rib cage and neck. So, and I'm going to build this guy symmetrical and then get him posed at some point when I'm kind of happy with the base form. You know what? I actually put the head and the body on the same layer, so I'm going to do a trick real quick and delete. Okay, now I've got them on 2 layers. The cool thing, I think one of these many nice things about Oculus Medium and working in VR is because it's in 3D, I can really push and pull the planes around and really quickly get angles as a sculptor that are important. So, like, for example, I can look at him pretty quickly from below, and I can pretty quickly hit these planes from below to sort of block out the rib cage a little bit better. And I know he's going to have a mane, so I'll go ahead and click a new layer, and we'll start maybe even taking a different brush for this, just to vary the base shape. So this is mixed reality view is awesome. Is it difficult to set up? It's a little finicky, but there's a cool a guy figured it out. If I forget his name, in that Facebook group. And basically, you got to put the camera in the exact right spot in VR and line it up with your webcam, and adjust the focal length so that the controllers match up. If you see, they're not perfect on my screen, but I think they get the job done. So you can kind of it gets the point across, right? But usually I try to have a setup and try not to move my web camera between these sculpting sessions, and then I end up still having to adjust it each time in VR. But once you do the basic groundwork, and then you need a blank background. So what I see around me is just all specific blue, and then that's keyed out in the OBS studio software that's helping me stream. So a few different steps, but not too bad, actually. Okay. So, and now I'm kind of trying to push around like a suggestion of a hip bone if he's a little thinner. I don't want to get too detailed at this point, but okay, I'm going to switch back to the head real quick. Because I know I really want to get his kind of general mouth shape defined, this front pad here sticking forward, so that I can really punch the teeth when it's time. Oh, thanks, Aaron. It's just, I've been using the software for years and years, since 2016, I think. So I'm doing a lot of things kind of intuitively, and actually, if people are interested, I can definitely talk through technically my process a little bit more as I do it. But things like left joystick down, and then I hold it down and I can select a layer, so I can grab the head, I can grab the mane, or I can hold down and grab the body. I can also undo and redo really quickly with the left joystick, so I can tap left and it'll undo. Let's see if you can see that. It'll undo a lot of the strokes I'd been making around the mouth. Yep, and then I can scroll right to redo them. And I'm having a little bit of troubles with the comments scrolling, so let me make a quick adjustment. I was hoping the new comments would hit at the top, not the bottom. Anyway. So, and at any time I can also isolate, so I go back to just the body again, because I think he's going to need little bit more of a... And this is also, I grab the left trigger and it switches to the smooth brush, so I can tap to smooth pretty fast. So let's go ahead and build the rest of this guy really quick just to block something in. I'm going to turn off mirror mode and I'm going to really just super rough in a couple of arms and legs. You can actually quickly duplicate layers, which is nice and handy. And then the move brush is really useful too to kind of pull stuff around. I can also grab 2 layers at a time, so I got these 2 arms and make them both a little bit bigger or smaller. Get that size adjusted to a level I'm happy with. New layer, let's go for the leg. And I just, in case anybody's wondering, I'll get pretty far with this in VR, but I won't get it finished. I'll always have to do some sort of cleanup and refinement in ZBrush is my preferred software after this. But I try to do, in sculpts like this, a lot of the groundwork for the form in VR. It just feels more intuitive for me. And then save some of the detailing and refinement for ZBrush. And I've got these reference images right in front of me, so I'm really kind of checking out the general leg shapes of all these guys, just to make sure I hit these planes somewhat well. And in particular, again, I'm going to keep looking at this one a lot because I really like this sort of classical version. I think we can take this and make kind of a really weird, scrawny Manticore. And then I've also, before the live stream here, I've just been debating whether or not to give him wings. I think D&D Manticores have wings, and I think it would be cool to do a version that, you know, you could sort of choose. You could add the wings on or not. So maybe we'll get there and be able to do a wings, no wings. Okay, I might go in and build individual toes and stuff later, but this is at least giving me an idea of the foot. And I may not, because I mean this is a miniature, so it's going to be pretty small, so I might just kind of carve out the suggestion of the toes. Yeah, hey Abe, what's up? Nice to see you on the chat. I can't wait to see more of your painted models, man. They're really awesome. So another cool thing now is I can take these 6 layers. I'm going to grab these 5 layers. I'm going to duplicate them and flip them. So now I've got my quadruped. And I'm just going to go ahead and make adjustments to give him a little bit of a pose. And I think I'm going to perch him on a rock eventually. So I don't want to do too much right now, but... And a lot of times I'll do this and kind of have these as placeholders, and then I will take one of the limbs refine it really well, and then replicate it, and then put it in the place of the other placeholders. Yeah, unfortunately, the comments aren't really scrolling. I might take another quick break and try to get that adjusted so that I can keep track of questions, feedback, etc. as it comes in. And again, just to give you guys an idea of what I'm focused on, I'm just trying to get a little bit of a pose right now. It's still looking pretty stiff. But I don't want to break the center plane of the body just yet until I'm happy with this torso overall, which is getting there. I might need a couple more reference images. I'm going to try to just keep cruising here, though. Okay, I'm going to try to adjust the comments real quick. Yeah, I might just have to keep checking in every once in a while. I'm gonna pull away the head for a second and just focus on this mane. I think one of the things I like about this reference image is that the mane sort of falls inward before it piles outward. So if you can't see right now, I'm yeah, sorry, I'm zooming in on the head pretty significantly to work just a bit. On the mouth. Here we go. Try to give you guys a better better view of what I'm doing. And I can't quite get this. I think it really needs a rounded spine. Go ahead and isolate this torso again. Okay, this is better. You know what? I'm gonna put the neck even on a new layer. All right. And I'm getting to a point where I'm probably going to block in the base soon to really give him something to stand on. Oh man, A by A. I'm very much looking forward to seeing that Mulagoth, man. I think that'll be really awesome. I hope you got those upper teeth in okay. I know I had to use some tweezers to drop them in just right, but doing it that way really helped save the support work and the cleanup, I think. Splitting those upper teeth separated. Okay, so here's another trick. Let's see. Not yet. So his arms now they're starting to look a little small, so I'm gonna make sure the limbs are and let's maybe pull one shoulder up. All right, quick base. Here we go. New layer, clay brush. Oculus Medium has a lot of cool rock brushes, and I'll use a combination of these typically to get the base that I want. So, yeah. And we'll lower the resolution. That reminds me that I'll need to save this pretty soon Did a live sculpt once, and after about half an hour, the thing crashed. Got to rebuild that guy from scratch. I really like making rocks in medium. Combination of adding and subtracting using the rock brushes gives you some really cool angles and surface texture quickly. And let's isolate this layer real quick. Maybe another layer. You know, I'm thinking maybe over here to a little bit of a cave of some kind. So I'm just gonna, if you can see that, I'm just gonna carve into the base here a little bit deeper. Trying not to make for too many undercuts or things that would maybe require a ton of supports, but I think that would be cool. Give a little bit of environment to the thing. And we don't have to go too deep since it's a miniature. Okay, so next step is to kind of get him on the rocks.
Once upon a time, in a famous story, a girl named Alice got very curious about a little white rabbit who passed by. She followed it and soon found herself falling down a very deep hole into a strange place called Wonderland.
Maybe cigarettes and alcohol are like medicine.
Nowadays, there are still girls and boys whose curiosity leads them to strange places.
And again, if you're just tuning in, you know, feel free to leave me a comment in chat. I've got a window open so that I can see comments. I gotta adjust it every once in a while, but I definitely, it's cool to connect with you guys. So I'll go ahead and, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and take this torso off of the symmetrical plane here, and I'm going to just twist it a little bit. Now that the legs are in different positions. Isolate again. And quick hand Ruffin. Let's give him some tweezers. Yeah, Abe, the smart thinking with the tweezers there to get Mulligoth in. If anybody's watching doesn't know, I'm talking about the I have a Patreon. You can see the link up there, and I usually focus on original designs and cosmic horrors, and Abe is currently printing up one of the designs from December, a big spider kind of deity being, corpse monger dude, with some really detailed and serrated teeth. So he had to be printed in several parts to make that work. Okay, so this is where I'm at right now. Definitely, I'm sure he'll have this guy. I'll probably have to separate from the base for the print. I'm gonna try to do not more than 2 or 3 pieces for him. Oh, I don't want to throw. I'm gonna make a duplicate of the head and pull it up. This is a trick I like to do. So I have the head up here that I can come down and continue to work on symmetrically. But since I've got I'll call like a rough-in right here, I'll take this one and go ahead and pose it. Same thing with the main. I'll duplicate the main, take one up high, and then bring this down low, and yeah, because the main will flow a lot. I don't know if anybody can see. Yeah, you just saw I see Jax is in here with me too. Yes, this is my German Shepherd mix. Jax, come here, say hi. Do a quick interlude. We rescued him about 8 years ago, and he's German Shepherd mixed with something. Okay, here is where I'm at now. Kind of ghoulish, which I like. I think that's definitely the vibe I want to go for. Again, something kind of lanky, with a big hunch. I still can't quite get satisfied with how the arms to torso are going in, but I'm getting there. I'm happy with the mane now. I'm happy with the pose overall. We'll get another hand, except this guy will... So I'm just adding some fingers in on the base right now. This kind of requires me to get in at some weirder angles. And so again, I'm keeping things pretty segmented still. Lots of different layers. I'll start merging these eventually as I start to lock in the form. You know, maybe the leg needs a bit of adjustment. Okay, and that means I need to get rid of that, well, not get rid of the right leg, but change the proportions. So I'm going to duplicate what I have on the left now, and then block it back into place. Sometimes you have to be careful in these parts. Like, I don't know if you can get a good look at the foot here, but there's a small gap. And for 3D printing, I definitely want to get rid of that stuff. So I'm trying to catch that stuff earlier on and go ahead and, you know, get these gaps sort of filled in so that we don't have to deal with unnecessary complexity from that 3D print. Okay, I'm gonna flatten out the base here. I'm gonna maybe quickly block in a couple of wings and some teeth, depending on the time. This is again, this is kind of a crude way to slice off the bottom. I'm gonna in ZBrush really flatten it out, but this will just give me a little bit of a reference of how the thing will stand. Okay, so he needs definitely a tail. Let's not forget that. I'm gonna turn on steady stroke. This is another cool thing you can do, and a sphere brush. So this will let me draw some nice curvy lines. And usually what I'll do is I'll take something and I'll just try a couple of things. Let's first snake it down into the rock like that. Okay. That's not bad. tail is always a cool chance to give it like some really nice flowing rhythm. And we're gonna go scorpion tail, I think. So let's also rough in a stinger. And I will just pull and then I can, of course, I can play with this position of this. Maybe even flip it this way for printing. We're going to print it upright, then the layers will fall that way, and we won't need to add a support on that stinger there. Cool. Okay, yeah, this is getting to a much better place. Let me check the time. At 12:44. Okay, I don't want to push this much more than an hour. So the last thing I'm going to do, try to get some teeth on him, try to get some really rough wings on him that I may or may not use. Let's do the wings first, real quick. I'm going to use a line constraint with a cube brush, and I'm going to use this to give me some rigid structure. And sometimes I'll separate these all onto their own layers so that I can play. You know what? I think I'll just at least, yeah, give me a bone here. And we'll go for 3 sections, so I'll duplicate that. Duplicate again. And one more time. And then I'll probably add, let's see, like a little bit more of a bend for each of these as they come in. And then I'll also give them a slight shrink in size. There we go. And again, I'll work up one wing pretty fully and then pose the other one, but for now, we'll just get a placeholder in here. So I'm just doing a couple of adjustments in the software to, yeah, get these. And let's maybe bend this one a little bit more. So the wing will pull right out on top of that shoulder. And they're a little too big, I think. In particular, the kind of the main spines. Okay, and then some webbing. This is always kind of fun, and one of these steps that I really enjoy making in VR a lot more than ZBrush is I can just literally draw in the webbing Thanks, Chris. To be honest, it was a bit of a rough start, this guy, for me, but finding that pose that I like, finally, that gesture. So I'm just gonna pull this stuff around. Once I got enough of it squirted out. If you like this process, I did a live sculpt a couple weeks ago, and I did a series of 3 small monsters on the fly. Went ahead and worked up one of those into the Moon Troll. If you go on my Patreon, you can see that finished version of that guy. And I just released him as a free monthly bonus for all the patrons that help support me and subscribe to my monthly model release, which is massively appreciated. It's really the only way that I can think about doing this kind of thing sustainably. So yeah, really appreciate the support from everyone for that. The pricing I put for my models for the monthly Patreon is really good. I'm probably undercutting myself a bit too much, but you know, one thing I try to do with the monthly stuff is not really think about individual model pricing and just sculpt a really cool set of stuff for you guys, and then I can worry about the individual pricing later. So the value ends up working out to be really well, really strong, I should say. But the D&D monsters, like this guy, he'll eventually be free for anyone. The patrons will have access to him first as a bit of a perk and a way of me saying thanks for supporting me, but I will eventually get him out to everybody. So I'm just pushing this around quickly. So there's a base shape of a wing. And let's make sure it hits the body. And I'll have to do definitely some work to reposition this one, since that other wing's posed a little bit differently, but just a little bit of time with the move brush here. Oh, I'm reading Chris's comment. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, that head, maybe you're referring to the Kit Bash set. I had fun throwing that thing online. I definitely want to do more of those. I think they're a cool way. You know, my other interest is I've been a fine artist for a long time, and I really like open source stuff, actually. And so it's cool to release like the sculpts like this for free, and also to do these Kit Bash sets and let people kind of go wild with component pieces. I think that's really fun. It's fun for me to do in my own art, to kind of Kit Bash stuff together, and I really like seeing what people can create with those pieces. So yeah, I appreciate that, man. I'm glad to hear people dug the Kit Bash set. And again, I'm a fan of open source stuff, so that's not something I'm really looking to make a buck on. You know, it's just a fun thing to do. Okay. So I'm getting close to the end of the sculpting session here. If I'm really honest, I thought I'd be a bit further along with the refinement of the Manticore, but I think I've got a really cool pose for him. And let's do some teeth at the very end. Actually, so we'll go to the we'll go to this head that's floating up here. So remember I have my placeholder head down here in the Manticore that's posed, and it's broken that axis of symmetry. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, let's see. Hopefully, I can really work it up and give him those rows of teeth that are so iconic to the Manticore. And maybe some of these spines. You know, I've got these images here, and like this, you know, it's classic. And the spines coming out of the mane are pretty cool. That's something I think I can add in quickly. I'm gonna try to do that. But yeah, again, placeholder head down here, off the symmetry axis. So I'm gonna go up here to this face, turn the mirror plane back on, and keep working just a little bit. So first thing, I'm going to increase the resolution. And let's add some eyes. And maybe some nice flow under the eyes. Whoop, I want to put that on the head layer. The cube brush is really nice because it's got that, you know, it's got a 90-degree plane change. So for something like this, just to get real technical as a sculptor here, pulling this around, and I might turn on the steady stroke to do it. That corner right there gives me that nice plane change between the lower part of the lid right here and then how it drops off. I think he needs a bit more. Expression. Not going to worry too much about the back here because I know that this will be covered in the mane, but I want to at least get the form. Actually, it's got some pretty cool, like, spiky things going on that I could pull out. So you see, it's like fun to improvise a little bit while you work. Chris, this is Adobe Medium, it's called. Originally Oculus Medium. It's free software that comes with the Oculus Rift, or I think you can use it on the Oculus Quest too. I'm not sure. I've got an old Rift headset here, but it's really, really cool software. Hoping that Adobe will really take it and give it some cool feature updates here soon. So a lot of this stuff, like, you can see some of the suggestions of creases. I might save that for ZBrush to go back and punch the contrast a bit more. But again, for me, it's like a lot more satisfying to get the primary form in this software. Okay, and some teeth. Okay, a few different ways to tackle this. Oculus Quest and virtual desktop. Okay, nice. Yeah, I have heard, I think people are doing it that way. This headset still works really well after several years, to be honest. I keep thinking I should maybe upgrade, but it seems like they're starting to phase out the Rift, which is the tethered one, which is I think is a little more powerful. But lots of people are using the Quest and getting that getting this working. So I will say, if you do this for miniature sculpting, or for 3D printing, I should say, you gotta definitely there's some cleanup involved in ZBrush, and you have to be careful. It's really easy to end up creating like holes, you know, like accidentally that are enclosed in the model. So this is something you kind of have to be mindful of and get some techniques going to erase those holes. Sometimes things like Dynamesh and ZBrush will do that, but it's something I've learned to be more cognizant of as I've done more sculpting in Medium for 3D printing. Okay, I keep avoiding the teeth, but we need to do it. So here, I usually punch out a sphere and then pull the tooth down. Although lots of the Manticores have these really short, almost shark-like teeth, so let's shorten the shape and blow it up some. That so Abe, ornaments release got me thinking, have you ever considered doing a bust or two? Yeah, I have. I think that's something that would be nice to put out, to be honest. It seems like a lot of people, you know, want the tabletop miniatures, but it's not too much extra work to take some of these characters and, you know, do a bust of Mulagoth's head or something like that. So that could be a really nice thing to add in for sure. So I'm going to start copying these teeth. And we know the Manticore's got usually a few rows, so I'll also pull. Starting to get a bit small for a miniature, but and I definitely don't want these teeth to be symmetrical. It looks a little bit too perfect when it's like that, so I'm not gonna mirror these. Oh, thanks, Aaron. Okay, cool. Yeah, well, it's nice to hear if people want the bus. You know, it's again not too much work. Maybe I can throw them in as unsupported bonuses, stuff like that, so that I can still get the, you know, the monthly lineup out and just have those busts. Yeah. I am working on a cool basilisk for next month. Wasn't going to originally, but I had sketched this rough head that really the lineup is kind of for next month needed something a bit more like classic and reptilian, I think. So doing some sort of shadow themed basilisk, which has been fun. Okay, so this is where we're at with the teeth. And there are a few ways I could make this easier to 3D print, and I'll decide later if I'm going to do that. I could just fill in the mouth, you know, and you would kind of paint it black and let it sit just behind the teeth. Or we could just go the support route, you know, and or I could think about if I'm, you know, printing at this angle, if I flip these up this far, maybe the front row may not need supports that way. And then the back rows we can kind of embed into the mouth. You know, and I still think yeah, cool. Okay. So yeah, maybe that'll be the technique for this guy, is to go try to print him out like this, turn him upwards enough so that the teeth will print without needing supports themselves. I definitely don't want to get into a situation where I chop this thing up like I did Mulagoth. The free stuff's the free sculpts, excuse me, that I do kind of help challenge me to put out things that are efficient as miniature designs, because of course I got to get the monthly stuff done, but these classic things are just really fun to crank out sometimes. His might need to try to bring the face back to something a little more human. I think I can do that maybe in ZBrush, working on the nose and eye area. I mean, the Manticore, it is a cool monster, of course, but I do want him to read, you know, a little bit humanoid at least in the face. So I'm actually going to space the eyeballs out a little bit further. Cool, and then let's finish off this session with a bit more of a nose. John, if you're still watching, I saw your comment. Thank you, Mr. Hunt. I appreciate that. Always nice to see you on the live stream. Okay, so that's the head worked up a little bit more. I might try to bring it back to the narrowness that it had down here, because I think it went really creature. Don't want to spend too much time on it though. But yeah, we'll call it a day for this one. I'll have some more work to do in VR, I think, before getting it into ZBrush for printing and cleanup. But hope you guys enjoyed watching this and seeing my process a little bit. I know I always like jumping on and doing these and just getting to chat with you guys while I work. And here I am, not stopping. I keep fixing the teeth and stuff. This is probably at the point, honestly, where it'll be good to work on something else and put this away for a little bit and then come back to it and figure out what it needs. Yeah, I think I lost the really human mouth from the this original block in here, so I'm gonna try to pull that back in, get it a little bit less demonic. Yeah, oh man, and I never saved this thing. Crap. I get so busy chatting with you guys and keeping track of the stream that I forget to save. And if this thing crashes, there's no autosave feature yet in Adobe Medium. So yeah, hey, I appreciate you guys hanging out. Abe, Ilka, John, Chris was awesome. Yeah, Abe, I can't wait to see the Mulagoth, man. It's going to be awesome. And that'll be it for now. I'll throw this up on YouTube probably, but here is the current product. And again, wings TBD. I don't know. Just depends on how much time I got. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to end the stream now. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you at the next one.